What's going on, everybody? Today's story time again. You know, it's hard for me to think about what story that I wanted to talk about first in my life. Do I want to start from the very beginning of my childhood? But it'd be way too hard to do something like that because too many stories would pop into the middle of my life. And I could never remember all of them. So after thinking that, it's like, okay, well, what story do I start off with? And then thinking that, you know, the first story that popped into my head was the first time I ever stole a gun. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good story. So today I'm going to tell you the story about the first time that I ever stole a weapon. I'm pretty sure it was the first time I stole a weapon of any sort. But I had this little girl. I say little. She was a year younger than me. I think I was in 9th grade, going into 9th grade. It was either the summer of me going into 9th grade or it was 9th grade. It was a girl that I was divergenized from. I won't use any names. But pretty much, I pulled up, and I knew, well, I would sneak into her window in the middle of the night, and I would stay there at her house. And so I knew what time her parents left, and I knew what time her parents got home, what time they came home for break, what time they came home for lunch. They never even met me before. So I knew how to break into the house also. I knew where they kept the keys in the backyard. You know, there was no house that I ever was at that I didn't... There was no house that I was ever at that I didn't know how to break into. That's like the honest truth. Yeah. So... so... I knew I had the drop on the spot, and parents weren't home one day. I think everybody was gone, and she was in school. It may have been summer school. I don't remember. I think it was regular school year. Anyways, she was in school. I was supposed to be in school probably, but I was never at school, and I probably ditched. And yeah, I think I did ditch, and then I skateboarded down to her house, and I seen that her parents weren't home, and so I jumped a fence, found the key next to the hot tub in the backyard, broke into the back door, went and put the key back, locked the back door, roll into the house, get into her into the house, probably grab myself something to drink, proceed through around the house and to see if there was any money or anything on the table, make sure everybody was out of the house, and then roll into the mother and father's room, where I then pulled out a case and I stuck the case in my backpack. And I took some bullets off of the shelf that was also in the closet. They were 22 long rifle shells that I took, and it was like the box, you know, the rectangle box of 22 long range. And I stuck them in my backpack and I took off. And I went and I was walking on the railroad tracks on the way to my house, or wherever. I think I was on my way to my house. And I was trying to load the gun up with the bullets and trying to shoot it on the railroad tracks as I'm walking. mind you, I'm really young at this point. Dumb. At this point in my life, I don't think I had shot quite a few guns. I was never taught to shoot a gun, and I didn't have enough practice with them. But I did have family members that would let me shoot them that did have practice, but I did not have any practice, and my parents did not have any guns that I knew of. So getting discombobulated here, thinking about it. So I was loading up this gun. There it goes. I'm loading up this gun on the railroad tracks. I'm walking down the railroad tracks. I was losing my train of thought there. I'm walking down the railroad tracks. I'm loading up this gun at the same time I'm walking, and I'm trying to shoot it. Well, I'm loading this gun up, and I look at the gun, and it says 9mm on the side of it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm trying to shoot 22 rounds out of a 9mm handgun. And I'm like, fuck. This is a real deal. This is a fucking, I've thought of maybe a 22, whatever. But now I'm like, fuck, this is the real deal. I hope her father's not a police officer. And we heard he carried a purse around even though he was married, so I think he may have been a little flamboyant or he was gay, so I don't know what he actually did. But he had this gun, right? And I stole that shit. Now, I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Taurus 9mm. I don't know what it was. But I have a couple of stories that roll into this one because it didn't just stop there. The story just didn't stop there. Maybe I'll save it for the next story. Yeah, maybe I'll roll it into the next story. Anyways, subscribe, guys. Stick around. That was the first time I ever stole a gun. I stole it from the girl I was virginized from, and straight had the drop on their house, and I was in high school. So that was the first time I ever stole a handgun. Stay tuned. Subscribe.